In today's video, I'm going to share with you how I select a campground. In the comments, feel free to share how you select campgrounds and what kinds of campgrounds you like best. Recently, I was having a conversation with my dear friend Luann, and she was asking me questions about how I pick my campgrounds, how many I've been to, things like that. So, I really got thinking about this, and I track the campgrounds I've been to, so, I know what I like and what I don't like, and, if I'd like to go back again or not. And I've actually been to 90 campgrounds now since I've been on this adventure. And, I spent 3 months in Florida with just going to a couple of the campgrounds besides Mossy Cove with Dave and his trailer. I did 3 of them with him, but the rest of the 3 months I was at the Mossy Cove Fish Camp. So really, if we break the 90 sites that I've been to between 9 months, that's actually about 10 campgrounds every month, and which means I've been staying approximately 3 days per campground, which is quite accurate. That's about what I do. 3 days, maybe 4 days, sometimes only 2. But yeah, so I have been over this past year to 90 different campgrounds. But now, how do I pick those campgrounds? Today's site is a really nice one, but you have to do a little bit of work in order to ensure you get a good one. When I decide that I need to, find my next campground or the next couple coming up down the road, there are a number of questions I ask myself. Do I need to get laundry done? Do I need to find a campground that has laundry? Will there be something local and convenient for me to do, something fun that I could either walk to or ride my bicycle to? Will the campground have full hookups, or will it just have electricity? Will it have electricity and water, or will it have electricity, water, and sewer hookup, which is considered full hookups? These are the kinds of questions I need to know the answers to. Will I have connectivity for my T-Mobile phone or not? That's a really big one, and I have found myself a couple of times over this year arriving at places where I had no connectivity. So, I need to make sure that each place I go to is going to have certain requirements like those. I think it's a good idea to talk a little bit about the different kinds of campgrounds because they are different. There are campgrounds where people like myself who are transient come and stay for a couple of days, even maybe a couple of weeks. Usually with a campground, there's a limit to like 14 days, maybe a month that you can stay, and then you need to move on to the next place. Then there are RV parks. RV parks typically don't take tents, which is fine for me, but that's one difference. And usually many of the people who are camping there are there full-time or for perhaps 6 months at a time, long-term. And at RV parks, they usually will have plenty of sites for transients, but it's typically different at this kind of a campground or in an RV park, because many of the people are there full time, so they probably have golf carts. You see a lot of golf carts going around. There will often be activities for the residents, perhaps a pool, horseshoes and other outside games, and they may even also have group get-togethers and tours, or get together and go bowling, things like that. So it's more community-based. And then there are RV resorts, which are very nice. They are typically only for RVs, but then they will also have pools and splash pads for the kids. And these are not places people typically park for the long term. They might come for a couple of weeks at a time, but it's just sort of a different atmosphere. Again, it's more of the transient people like myself who go to the RV resorts rather than the RV parks. Then in addition to that, there's BLM land, which is Bureau of Land Management. And that there's not a great deal of that on the East Coast. There's a lot more of that out in the West Coast, and it's government land. There would be no hookups there, no electricity. You have to bring in your own water. You need to run your own generator for electricity, or use solar panels if you have them, and carry out your sewage and dump it elsewhere when you leave. So that's another kind of campground. And then the last one that I can think of at the moment would be things like camping at Walmart or at bass fishing and some of the other stores that allow camping. And typically that's only allowed for a night, but if you're traveling from one place to the next and need a stopover, sometimes that's a good choice. So those are the kinds of places that I camp at. So how do I find the right campground each time I need to look? I've already shared with you some of the criteria I try to be looking for each time I make a reservation, right? So I am a member of two different clubs, the Escapees Club and the Passport America Club, okay? So with Passport America, with your membership, you get 50% off your rate, because of course, you know, the price always matters too. You get 50% off your camp rate per night at participating campgrounds or RV parks or resorts. And so I usually look there first. If I have a target area that I want to go and explore and check out, I will look for Passport America campgrounds in that area. Now, they don't have a huge selection, and I can't always find a Passport America. So then what I'll use is Campendium. That is another great source to identify campgrounds or RV parks or RV resorts in the location I'm going to. And what they'll also do is provide links out to their website and to reviews so that I can learn more about whether or not they will meet the particular needs I have for that next site. The app that I use the most to identify a campground that will work best for me tends to be Allstays. Allstays is an app that you actually have a subscription to. It's a subscription product that will share with you independent campgrounds, Army Corps of Engineer campgrounds, which I actually like the most, national and state park campgrounds, and the independents. And so I like it because on the app, it will show me in the region I'm looking, it will show me the different kinds of campgrounds or RV parks or RV resorts that are in the region. And so then I can click on them and look specifically at what they offer, how much they charge, if they are even available for the days that I'm interested in. So I like that one very much because I can narrow it down to simply Army Corps. Army Corps of Engineers campgrounds are beautiful. I'm in one right now. Army Corps of Engineer campgrounds are fantastic, and they typically are very neat and clean, well maintained. The only problem is that you will never find laundry, or very rarely. There would usually only be electric or electric and water hookups, and then you need to dump separately before you leave. But They're just so beautiful. They're out in nature, and as long as they're relatively close to fun things to go do, they work out beautifully for me. They're relatively inexpensive, just like the national or the state parks are relatively inexpensive. Usually these kinds of places are much less expensive than an RV park or an independent campground, or most especially an RV resort. RV resorts tend to have the highest prices, but sometimes it's just really worth it to go to those as well. I hope this video has been of use to you. And if you have other kinds of questions for me about my experience, about what it's like living in the RV, or how I get from one place to another, or any kinds of questions you might have, let me know in the comments and I'd be happy to make another little video to answer your questions.